right? Let's talk about political spine transplants. Let's be honest, British politics has always had its fair share of U-turns, but this week's backflip from Sir Keir Starmer on the grooming gang scandal was so sharp, it could give anyone whiplash. If you thought plot twists were reserved for Netflix dramas, think again. Welcome to UK Plug, where today we're dissecting a government reversal so dramatic, you'd expect it to come with its own slow-motion replay and a tub of popcorn. Picture this. You're at a restaurant, and for months, you've been telling the waiter, "No thanks, I don't need the special." You're steadfast, resolute, maybe even a little smug about your consistency. Then, suddenly, you actually bother to read the menu and blurt out, "Actually, I'll have what she's having." That's pretty much what happened to our PM this week. Except instead of a nice bit of cod, we're talking about a statutory inquiry into one of the most disturbing scandals in modern British history. For months, Starmer's government played political dodgeball with calls for a full inquiry into grooming gangs. Their go-to line? "We're far too busy implementing the outstanding recommendations from Professor Alexis Jay's 7-year investigation to start anything new." That's like saying you can't tidy your bedroom because you're too busy organizing your sock drawer. Technically true, but it avoids a mountain of actual mess looming in the background. The government was so firmly glued to its position, it turned down Oldham Council's call for a Whitehall inquiry faster than you can say awkward phone call. But here's where things get interesting. Enter stage left, Elon Musk. Yes, the man who bought Twitter for $44 billion and renamed it X because, apparently, vowels are just too mainstream. In January, Musk took to his platform and launched what can only be described as a social media blitzkrieg, directly calling out Starmer and safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips. Now, I'm not saying Musk single-handedly changed government policy, but it's remarkable how quickly politicians develop selective hearing when the world's richest man starts firing off tweets at them. It's like having a very rich, very loud neighbor who keeps pointing out your wonky garden fence. Eventually, you're going to fix the fence. Just as the government started to sweat under the glare of public scrutiny, they commissioned Baroness Louise Casey, public service royalty, to do a rapid audit. 3 months, quick and dirty, they said. But Casey, after looking at the evidence, essentially replied, "Hold my tea. We need to talk." Her conclusion? A full national inquiry. Not a quick audit. Not a gentle review. The full Monty. Suddenly, our Prime Minister had what can only be described as a Damascus moment. He announced, ironically, from Canada, because nothing says "I'm taking this seriously" like calling in from abroad, that he had read every word of Casey's report and was accepting her recommendation in full. And you know what happens when there's blood in the water. Political sharks start circling. Nigel Farage, with all the subtlety of a brick through a window, called it a welcome U-turn, which is a bit like calling the Titanic's iceberg encounter minor navigation error. Meanwhile, Kimi Badenoch went on the offensive, demanding apologies for 6 wasted months and pointing out this was just the latest in a string of government flip-flops. But here's where we need to zoom out from the mudslinging. Professor Jay's 2022 report already concluded there were institutional failings across the country, affecting tens of thousands of victims. Tens of thousands. Let that number settle in. This isn't just about political U-turns or who gets to score points on the news. It's about systemic failures that destroyed lives and a political system that too often seems more interested in saving face than facing hard truths. The new inquiry won't just be for show. It'll have real teeth, the power to compel witnesses, coordinate local investigations, and, hopefully, to finally get to the bottom of how we arrived at this national disgrace. This is what should have happened months ago, maybe even years ago. But sometimes it takes a peer-reviewed slap on the wrist to remind our leaders that their job isn't to protect their own positions, but to protect the people they serve. So, here we are. Another day, another U-turn in British politics. Starmer's finally doing the right thing, but it's taken longer than it takes most people to finish a Netflix series. The inquiry findings are due to be announced in Parliament next week, so buckle up for some political theatre. Is it too little, too late, or better late than never? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of political gymnastics, smash that subscribe button for UK Plug. After all, someone needs to keep track of all these policy pirouettes. Until next time, remember, In politics, the only thing more predictable than a U-turn is a politician claiming they never made one in the first place. Catch you next time.